There are a lot of placements within astrology that could be considered karmic, but I'm starting to look at our Aquarius house as well as the Leo house as two very important houses within our chart. And that is because the natural ruler of the opposing house is Saturn, the lord of karma. I think of the Leo, Aquarius, and Cancer, Capricorn axes as very important because the ruler of those houses, they're very, very polar opposite. The moon is really soft and sweet and very gentle, very needy. And then we got Saturn on the other end. That's what I call emotional damage, And then we have Leo, which is bright and shiny and warm. And then we got Saturn on the other hand. You know what I'm saying? Like just party pooping, you know what I'm saying? So I think those two houses, those two axes are very important for us to check, how these are playing out in our lives. Where does it land? What is the significance of that? Because Saturn is going to be applying pressure on this particular axis, Our ego could be, and even our emotions could be under some amount of pressure. Naturally, the planetary placements matter, of course, but if I was just going to look bare bones at the chart, I'll be looking to see where these energies land in the chart. Now that I'm looking at like oppositions in terms of integration points, it's almost like I see 6 signs and 6 houses, not 12. It's kind of weird because I'm actually seeing not only the combination of those 2 signs on the axes, but the addition of the other energies that's within that same modality. So for example, we have Virgo Pisces, right? And we have Mercury and Gemini. They seem all so different, but the way I look at them now, they ain't different at all. I'm looking at them all like different gears or wheels within a particular machine. It's like the baton is passed on to the other person in a relay. I feel as if the communication between Jupiter and Mercury is, I guess because they're mutable, is a little bit more, it's more fluid, It's not as discordant, but yeah, so it's possible that me looking at the mutables, it's less about polarity and more about transfer of information. The way that I'm seeing the Gemini or the Mercurial energy, I'm thinking of them as the data processors, right? So we have air and earth data processing, right? And then in the upper half, we have Pisces and Sagittarius, which is dealing with meaning on a more physical and on a more physical level as well as a more spiritual level as well. Based on my training in data analytics, I think of the Gemini as the data miner, that goes in there and gets all the information, gets all the stats, the numbers, the figures, and then passes it to Virgo that munches the data, processes the data, strings it into a system, gets the order right, cleans it up, gets rid of all the junk, because Gemini is indiscriminate, being masculine, right? But Virgo is feminine, so of course it's going to, clean it up. It's going to be a lot more detailed and discriminative. Then it passes it now to Sagittarius, because now that we have the data processed and chunked, it's being utilized throughout life. Now we have Sagittarius that could come and grasp the meaning behind things, but more on a physical level through experience with people and different cultures and going far and wide to get all of the meaning, to extract the meaning out of this information now that it's here. That's like the person who is interpreting the data after the analytics team or whoever processes and gets all the statistics and all that. Now it needs to be applied to life. What does it mean for us in our business? What does it mean for the next stage? Where do we go with this? What sort of decisions do we make, right? The beliefs based on this information, Sagittarius. But then at the end of the life cycle, it goes back into Pisces. And Pisces to me is like the data ocean. And that's where all of the data that's been collected throughout this experience in the wheel is now added to all of what already exists. It's like the collection of the experience just goes out and dissolves, into the depths of what is not physical, the opposite of Sagittarius. It coming at the end of the cycle, it just kind of feels like this is really a learning process that we're going through here in life. When the spark of Aries begins in the first house, it's like we're starting something new. I guess there is a new mission, a new desire, something that we want to manifest, and we do that through Aries. And then when we've gathered all of the data through our mutables, we dump it into the pool of everything else. I don't know. Pisces is a very strange sign. I don't know if everyone is finding them as elusive as I am, but I am Jupiterian, and they're also Jupiterian, but I don't get them. I don't get. I like them. I really do love them, but I don't get them. I'm not gonna lie. But I feel as if I'm coming closer to, and sort of, not that I'm getting them, but that I'm kind of understanding their role in the whole grand scheme of things.